Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to the presentation techniques session. In this session, we will look at how to design and present an effective presentation. It will be divided into three sections. Number one, planning a presentation. Two, writing content and designing layout. And three, practicing and delivering the presentation. So when preparing for a presentation, there are four areas to acknowledge and to address. Number one, the objectives of the presentation. Okay, what do you want your audience to have understood by the end? What action do you want your audience to take following your presentation? This will depend on the feedback you gain. And how can you best design your presentation to meet your objectives? Remember that a presentation is a communication. So you have a message, you have a sender, you have a receiver, and you have a feedback. Okay, number two, your audience. How much will your audience already know about the topic? This matters because the material or the information you will put in the body of the presentation will be dependent on such elements. How can you link new material to things they might already understand to bridge the gap? Will you need to win them over to a particular point of view? Are you trying to persuade them of a specific subject? Number three, the venue. The venue is the room or the hall where the presentation is presented. What kind of atmosphere do you wish to create? And how might the room arrangement affect your relationship with the audience? Okay. Number four, the remit. By the remit, we mean any restrictions that are made on the presentation, like time. How much time have you been allocated? Are you required to stick to a common format or style? Have any guidelines been set regarding the content of your presentation? So those are four areas to prepare when you are preparing or when you are planning for the presentation. The second part of the planning is choosing your main points. We also have three questions to answer to choose the main points. Number one, what are the main points you wish to make regarding the subject you are trying to deliver to the audience? Are these points structured in a logical, coherent way? Okay, can the audience see the links or the relationships between the different parts or the different components included in the subject? Do these main points reflect your own objectives and take account of the needs of your audience? Okay, so of course, obviously, we have planned here to move forward to this point. So you have to consider what you have already planned for in the next stages. The third part of planning a presentation is choosing the supporting information. Just like we have here main points and we have supporting points or supporting formations. Okay, they help your audience to understand, believe in, and agree with your main points. This evidence might take the format of factual data, or it could be graphs or pictures or videos or whatever. Okay, so when choosing your supporting information, you have to consider three things. What will add clarity to your argument? So for example, explaining complex terms or reminding your audience of any supporting theories. And what will add authority to your argument, like making the information or the main points more coherent by adding coding or by quoting or offering evidence from your own research and so on. Also, when choosing your supporting information, you have to consider what will add color to your argument. Okay, it has to be attractive for the audience. It has to make it easier for them to digest the material you are offering through the presentation. Okay, showing a video clip or a slide using a practical example or a vibrant analogy. Okay, so this is what has to do with planning the presentation. Then we come to writing the content. Okay, of course, the first part is developing the opening, all right, or the introduction, where the introduction to your presentation is very crucial. It's your first point of contact with your audience. Okay, you try to use this introduction to lay a clear foundation for the presentation to follow. Okay, you state clearly the purpose and the objective of the presentation and what you expect from your audience. Okay, try using the following structure. Number one, you introduce yourself. Number two, state what you will be talking about, the title or the subject area. Three, state how you will be talking about it. Example, by comparing test results or reviewing the supporting literature. Okay, or any other approach you are using to deliver the material or the subject. Number three, state what you intend to be the outcome of your presentation. Okay, an informed group or a lively discussion. Number five, sorry, state what you expect your audience to do during the presentation. You expect them to listen, to take notes, to read a handout, to ask questions. If there will be any activities that they will do, any games they will play during the session, you tell them to. Okay, of course, you also tell information about how long the presentation will take. Okay, then we have the second part of writing the content in developing conclusion. The reason why we have jumped over from developing an opening to developing a conclusion is that the main body of the presentation is specifically tailored to the subject you are delivering. So there are no any things we can say to follow for writing the body of the material that it's unknown. Okay. However, some of the general guidelines in developing an opening and developing a conclusion could be used to write the body of the presentation. Okay, so a conclusion is a review of your title or subject area. It's a summary of your main points. Okay, it could be a summary of the processes you have been through. Okay, for example, like saying by looking at X, we have found that Y is dash and dash and dash. Okay, a conclusion clearly drawn from your main points. Okay, it's very clear. The audience or the listener can see the relationship between the different elements. Okay, this must be supported by the detail of your presentation. It is clear that there can be no substantive relationship between X and Y, for example. Okay, so this is a result that have or an outcome of the material represented in the presentation. Okay, also when developing a conclusion, you could have a parting statement to stimulate your audience's thoughts. This might be a question or a bold comment, okay, from the audience themselves. So it's something that instead of giving out the conclusion for ready-made for the audience, you can ask them to make a conclusion and then compare if they were right or wrong depending on the material that have already been represented. Okay, so we are done with the first part of preparing for a presentation and writing the content, and here we have designing the layout. Okay, when designing a layout, I would say you could use instead of the presentation offered by Microsoft, you have other applications that can help you to design a very attractive layout. Okay, So in designing your layout, or while designing your layout, you use visual aids appropriately. Okay, not too much, but a presentation that depends solely on text or theory is not really attractive. It won't help your audience to be engaged with what you have to offer. So use visual aids appropriately. Okay, you mind for the colors and for the patterns, and also you mind for the quality of the pictures you offer. Okay, there should be coherent structure of slides. When you move from one slide to the next slide, the audience can see that there is a clear relationship between the two. Okay, a clear link between the two. Of course, if for example, I remember when I was in university, lots of our professors were really bad, to be honest, in designing layout of presentations. You could never see what has the previous slide to do with the current slide showing. Okay, which would make a person get lost easily. Okay, so they should be coherent structure of slide. Always follow the 5 points rule, and the 5 points rule says that they should be only or maximum 5 points, main points in one slide. Okay, also if you have a presentation that is 10 minutes long, you should not include more than 3 main areas or main points to talk about. Okay, also when using visual aids, you watch for relevance in using images. Okay, it will help the audience to remember the things you already said. Okay, sometimes it doesn't have to be very direct images like the one I'm presenting here. There's a relationship or there's a relevance, but you have to think a little to find it. Okay, add colors with effects, fonts, and styles, but be careful, they should not be too distracting. Okay, from you, the presenter who's standing in front of the people, and from some of the main points that they need to look at in the slides. Number 2, the second thing you need to remember when designing a layout is something called picture superiority effect. The picture superiority effect says that the human's mind tend to grab information from pictures quicker than from text. Okay, so try to remember this. Also, since the human minds grab it quicker, it also stick in the mind for a longer period of time. So you could use this when designing the layout. Okay, also when designing the layout, remember the 4 types of learners. We have visual learners, auditory learners, reading, writing learners, and kinesthetic learners. Visual learners are who tend to remember or perceive informations better when they are displayed visually. Okay, unlike auditory learners who depend more on their listening abilities, and the reading and writing learners like to read and write themselves, and the kinesthetic learners are those who tend to perceive more information when they are giving in practical tasks or activity. Okay, so when you are designing a layout or writing or preparing for a presentation, try to consider the 4 types of learners in order to deliver the informations or the message conveyed in the presentation to a larger number of people. Okay. Number 3, give it the part test. Okay, it's you leave it and you come again, test it by putting yourself into the audience shoes. Okay, think of it as a storytelling. You have a beginning, you have a body, and you have a conclusion or an ending. Okay, so you have to go in harmony. Time yourself carefully. Each slide have a time to take. All right, each activity you give for the audience also have a time. Remember, you at the beginning when you introduce yourself, you tell the audience how long the session will take or how long the presentation you take, so you have to stick to that amount of time. Okay, we have 10 points to look at when talking about delivering a presentation, which is the third part of this session. Okay, so the first thing is you show confidence. You always show confidence. Okay, you practice before preparing the presentation, where this will help with your confidence. There's lots of things as well found there. You can look at them up. You can search them where they enhance your confidence. Okay, lots of activities as well that can be done, and exercises to make you more confident. Okay, generally when you enter a room of presentation, try to put that idea in mind. The idea is they are all human. Okay, you are one of them. Okay, it's very natural thing. They don't think of that you will mess up or things will go wrongly. No, have positive ideas in your mind. If something happened in the middle of the presentation or something wrong happened, it's okay. Okay, you can straightforward apologize and continue. Okay, so all those ideas can enhance your confidence, which you need to show when you arrive at the room of the presentation. Number two, find ways to make your presentation interactive. Okay, you can start with an icebreaker. Don't just straightforward to start with the presentation. No, do a little activities that make you get introduced to the audience and they get the audience to know you. Okay, this like a small icebreaker. Okay, in the beginning of the session, a small game, a small activity that will make your presentation interactive. Okay, it will make you comfortable in standing there in front of people, and will make your audience more engaged in what you have to say. Number three, call special attention to key points. Okay, repeat them more than one time. Okay, 3 times maybe if they are very important. Number four, include humor. You're not a stone, you're a human being, so it's totally fine to show emotion, to drop a joke or something in the middle of the presentation. This will enhance the ability of people to remember the presentation and the information presented. Okay, mind your time carefully when delivering the presentation, not just when designing the layout, but also delivering this presentation. You have to make sure you look at your watch every now and then to make sure that you are minding your time carefully. Okay, the sixth point is to address your audience directly and speak to them. Okay, you should look at them. Okay, you should not look in the sky or look in the ground. You are talking to those people, and you should address your talk to them individually. Okay, mind your body language again and again and again. Your body language is very important. It can have great impact on the effect you can have on the audience. Okay, show your emotions. As we said earlier, it's very natural to show emotions. Okay, you should not be emotionless. Mind your gaze and movement. In a typical class or a typical presentation hall, you should you should make sure that you go through your eyes, or with, you should go through each of the audience with your eyes, okay, typically in a curve. All right, so you look at who's there in the middle and who's in the left. This will give the audience a sensation that you can have a look, or you see each one of them, okay? This will give them the feeling that you are concerned with each one in the room, and thus will make them more proactive and reactive to what you have to say. Okay, your movement should not be like, you should not move a lot, and you should not stand still like a freezed position. Okay, you should make sure that you move in a triangle. Okay, so you stand here, you say something, you move forward, you say the next thing, and you come back, okay, calmly, without causing any distraction to the audience. Sometimes we have a repetitive movement for some presenters. They go forward and backward, forward and backward. This will give the audience a sensation that you are nervous, okay, or you are less confident. So make sure that you move in the triangle. Remember the triangle rule. Okay, of course, the movement sometimes, or the size of this triangle, depends on the space you are offered, the stage, your stage. Okay, also remember the movement of your hands. Your hands should not come across your face, they should just be below your chest. Okay, so not to distract the audience, they should clearly see your facial expressions, okay, to be fully engaged with you. And I know those are lots of things to remember, but through practicing you will master the skill of giving a very effective presentation. So I always tell you, practice, practice, and practice. Okay, here we come at the summary. Okay, summary of the tips. Remember the bumpers. Okay, the presentation, the layout, the design, the informations written or included, the articulation, okay, the terms used, or the words chosen, okay, modulation, how you change your voice. Your voice tone is very important when you are delivering a presentation, okay? When you feel like people are slowly losing concentration, you can raise up your voice and repeat it again and again, so that you grab their attention back. Okay, so modulation, pronunciation of the words. You have to make sure that you can pronounce the words included in your presentation correctly. Okay, I'm not saying there is a perfect way to say it, but you have to be correct. Okay, if you are conducting presentation with an accent or a different language from your mother tongue, then you don't have to copy a particular accent. Like, you don't have to have a British accent or an American accent, because your accent is just a reflection of the way you learned this language, okay, of your educational background sometimes. So try to have a correct pronunciation of every single word included in your presentation. Enunciation as well, any acronyms, terms, the letters, yes. Okay, repetition, try to repeat, as we said earlier, repeat the words or the main points that it's very important for you to deliver for the audience. And mind the speed. You should not talk too fastly, and you should not talk too slowly. Too fastly will not help the audience to understand, and too slowly will make them sleep in the middle of the presentation. Okay? Remember the eye contact in a curve. Okay? Your posture can reflect a lot about your confidence. You're straightforward. Okay, not moving your legs too much, not moving your hands too much. Okay, gesture. Sometimes you make some gestures depending on the material that is behind you, or depending on something that some of the audience have said. Okay, so like nodding or like this. Okay, the facial expressions as well. You have to control your facial expressions. Okay, at the end of the presentation, ask for questions or for suggestions and get feedback. Always get feedback. Remember, we said that delivering a presentation is a communication. Okay, and it includes a receiver, a sender, a medium, and a feedback. So you make sure that you get the feedback in order to compare it to your intent. Okay, as I said, it's a communication process. It includes a sender, a medium, and a receiver. Okay, so it has to do with the people, the logistics you use, and the audience. Okay, the presentation, the audience, and logistics. Okay, the presentation has, as we mentioned, the material included, the preparation, the design, the layout of the layout, and the audience. Okay, and the logistics, the medium that is used to deliver the presentation. There's a video clip, you will find it down. It's called How to Talk That People Want to Listen. Okay, so how to use your voice, the voice box, in order to affect your audience the way you favor. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you can easily apply all the tips I have just mentioned. Thank you.